So the concept today is a JavaScript object. So what is object? First of all, I'll just show you what is actually the object is. Okay. So okay. So in JavaScript, objects are king. You see, they in the document in itself, they are actually mentioned the JavaScript are king. If you understand the JavaScript object properly, you almost done with the programming language. So everything is object in this JavaScript. Okay. If you see, they're also saying if you understand object, you understand JavaScript. That's the key concept of JavaScript programming. A lot of people don't know how these actual object is going to work, but I'm just going to get into a deep dive into the JavaScript object and all the prototype methods and scope chains, all these things. Okay. So here in JavaScript, almost everything is an object. So the Boolean can be an object if we define with the new keyword. We're going to take a look about at this, what this the new keyword, all these things. Okay. Now number, string, dates are always object, math are always object, regular expression are always object. So you don't know what is regular expression. I didn't teach you yet, but soon we'll get into that. Okay. So array are always object, functions, objects, everything is object. You see, these are the data types what the programming language is contained, right? So now the Booleans is object, number is object, string is object. Every data types are actually the object here. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Object is the one of the most important thing in JavaScript. Okay. So the JavaScript values except primitive or object. You see, the JavaScript values, there is a two types here. One is primitive type and another one is a reference type. I will cover this all the things in the fundamentals. You go and take a look there. So the primitive types basically return a single value. Okay, it has no methods or no functions to that. And object has contain lot of methods. I will tell you what is methods and all. Okay, the JavaScript primitives. A primitive value is a value that has no property or method. So if you see 3.1 primitive data types data that has a primitive value. The JavaScript has defined 7 types of primitive value. So we already go through all these things: strings, number, boolean, null, undefined, symbols, big int. So I don't know what is big int and the symbols, even though I didn't get into this. I don't know where the developer used this kinds of concept at all. So the main concept is only this 5. So most 99% we're going to use this data types only. I don't know why they are using this, but I will give you some example about the big int and symbols later on. Okay. So there's an immutable. So primitive values are immutable. They are hard coded, cannot be changed. For example, if x equal to 3.14, you can change the value of x, but you cannot change the value of 3.14. So that is the basic logic here, right? So you see these are the string type. This is the string, number, true, false, null, undefined. You see here, they also actually mentioning the only the 5 type. Okay, because these 5 types only most important things in the programming language. Okay, not the symbol and begin. So these are the only major part of the programming, and not only in the JavaScript, in other programming language also these 5 data types is the most important thing. So some programming language has some different types of data types. It could be some differentiate there. So objects are, we don't want this. Okay, I hope you will understand the JavaScript, the variables, the object, I think. Okay, so we get into the object now. So here what I'm going to do, in this folder itself, I'm just going to create a object folder. Okay, so the object, we're going to structure all the object code and files in this folder. So Tariq bro, did you practice the DOM project? Did you have any doubt on that?
I actually was busy with completing projects, so I completed till DOM manipulation, but just started with DOM project.
Okay, so please try to complete that as soon as possible,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's maybe harder after that. We take a look of all the concept, right? That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So now
Yeah,
I'll
I
just,
completed today. Right?
yeah, okay, sure. So now the first step is constructor. Okay, the object constructor, tructo, and this. Okay, so the one of the main concept is that this keyword. Okay, so I'll just put where is the, here there is no index. I'm just going to create an index file also, index.js, index.html. I'll just close all these things. Here I'll put some snippet code. This one is object. So first step is constructor and this keyword. Okay. So basically, first we should want to understand what is this keyword. Okay, so for example, I'll get into the Figma. So these are the main topic we're going to look in some kind of PDF and all these things. Afterwards, I will give all the reference what I have here. Okay, so here, where is the HTML object? I think this one. Not this. This is the object. Yeah, this one. Object and object literals. Okay. We're going to stick with the object literal syntax. Okay, I'll show you that using it's kind of some different thing here. Okay. Okay. So okay, we'll get into that later. Okay, so the objects and functions. Okay, some people teach object in a different part and function in different part. I told you that in JavaScript everything is object, so the function also object and the object is also object. Okay, so here you see the name. Okay, object is the collection of name value pairs. Basically, you have an object. That object contains some properties and methods, and that property has some name called the property name called the this here the person. Just imagine here the person object. Okay, this person object contains name value pairs. Okay, this name is called Javed. This Javed has some different properties, kind of my height and weight, and how do I look, the colors, all these things about the person. So this major object is a person. Inside we're going to create each and every person using the name of the person, and inside going to have the properties and methods of that actual person who we are going to create. But I'm just going showing you this like this. I will show you in a different way. Okay, the practical example. So here this is the object. Okay, you see this is the object. The object contains primitive properties. Okay, what are the primitive properties? You know already that string, number, boolean, undefined, null, all these are primitive properties. Inside object we have a object property. So inside the same object we can also add the function that cannot we cannot able to call that as a function. If that function is sitting inside one object, that is called as method. Okay, that is the difference between if you create the function outside of the object, that is called as function. If the function the one function you are creating inside the object, that's called actually the method. Okay, so there is the difference between. So the object and object literals, what is the difference between? So we'll get into that. Okay, so objects and object literals, I will come back here. So here what I'm going to do, later on I will take this the deep dive about the object and object literals. Now we're going to make it very simple. Okay, for the basic understanding of how the object is working, after we learn all these things, we're going to build some project. After that I will get you into the deep dive into the object. Okay, so the first one, I'm just going to take an example of the person here as an object. Person constructor. Okay, so now I'm going to create some object. You already know how do I create means that const person is equal to I'm just going to create a name of the person is Javed. Okay, so an age of the person is 25. So then I'm just going to create this is enough. Okay, this two field is enough, I think. So we have a person object. This person name is Javed and age is 25. Okay, now this is a hard coded object, right? This is a object literal syntax. So if you're creating like this object, this is a object literals. Okay, we are going to follow this type of syntax only, but we should want to create the object in a dynamical way, right? So that is what that's what then only you can able to create a new user in when you're submitting some form like kind of things. Okay, so to do that, what should we want to do? We want to create a function as a person, and we should want to pass the property and all these things. Okay, before we get into that, you should want to understand what is this keyword. So I told you, if I put document here, what it's going to return in the console?
The complete document.
So the actual HTML is going to return in the console, right? So if I open this in the live server, I don't know why this having some. Okay, after 5 minutes, after like 30 seconds only, it's basically opening the. So okay, now we got the actual HTML document here, right? So I'll just you see this is our HTML document. Okay, so here inside we have the title of object, so that is the object it's reflecting here. Okay, everything is perfect. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a new keyword. The keyword called this. Okay, what is this is going to return? That is what we're going to focus on today. Okay, that this keyword, because it is most important thing, that this keyword in the language, if you don't understand what is this keyword, it's going to it's basically going to have a lot of confusion in mind. Okay, it should create a lot of confusion. Basically, like this keyword is a window object. You see, this is a window object. Okay, so this is a window object. If you can ask me a question now, can I put a console.log window? Yeah, you can put. So if I come back here, I'll just put window here. Okay, the window object. So if I save this, the both object is going to return the same object. You see, this keyword also pointing to the same window object, and the window is also pointing to the same object. You see, there is no difference between this two object, right? So the both are same. This one also same. So the first one is this keyword and second one is the window keyword. Okay, everything is perfect, but we're going to use this keyword now. Okay, basically the both are going to return the same thing. There is no difference between that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, this is the global. What is this is the global why this got stuck?
Global scope.
Wait, when my browser got stuck. Okay, so this is the global location. Okay, the how do I say that, this is the global scope. So whatever you are creating into the document, it's going to sit here. Okay, so I will show you that. So if I this is an object. Now remember, this is actually an object. Okay, I can set the property to this dot. For example, I'll keep test. Okay, test is equal to test1. I'll keep it like this way, test1. So now I am basically what I'm doing here. I just created one property to the existing object on the console. So if I come back here, I will just open this out. Okay, window object. When I scroll down here, T. So you can see the test here, right? You see, this is the variable what we created in our window. This is this object to this object. We just assign some property to that this keyword, so that it's now sitting in a global, right? So if I try to filter the test here, I'll just put test here. Why this is not filtering out? I don't know why. Okay, so if I come back here, whatever you are creating, it are basically going to sit in this global object only, the global scope only. Okay, this is the global scope. For example, we are used the local. I think I already explained you this little bit, but now we get into deeper about this. Okay, so the local storage, everything is coming from here, right? So we use the local storage in our application to store the data in our application, right? So you see the local storage is also a part of global scope. So now we set something into the global scope. So if I now if I give console.log test here, it's going now what is going to happen, this machine is going to look the window object. If there is any test variable there, it's going to return the actual value of that. Okay, now if I save this, I want to get this test1 variable, right? The test1 value. If you come back here, you see I get the test1 value because we set test is equal to test1 here. Okay, now if I take this out, okay, now if I command this out, now this test is going to look for the global scope. Now it couldn't find this dot text. Okay, because this is now I just uncommand command this out. Okay, it's going to check the window object. It could not find that test object there. It's going to return what? If you're not set some variable, if you're not setting any variable,
Unassigned.
it's going to return undefined, right? Not undefined. I think it's, yeah. Wait.
Unassigned, right? We haven't assigned that value.
Why this is not? Wait 1 minute. Why this is not okay? Okay, here I should want to filter this. Okay. So now you see here, test is not defined. The error is coming. Test is not defined. Okay, but when the undefined is going to come, if there is some variable in the global scope, okay, now there is a variable in the global scope called test. It's going to look for the test, but it has no value to the test. If the variable is if the variable is not having any value, then what is going to return?
Undefined.
Yeah, so it's going to return the undefined. Now if I save this, why this is not working properly? I think my laptop, why my laptop is getting slow. Even though this dot test, if I come back to this object, I am having the test or not. So wait 1 minute, I'll check. Is there any Premium Pro running in the background? Wait 1 minute. I think the Skype is running in my background. That's the problem. So what, anything else? So that's all. Okay. So the Discord also running. Okay. Okay. Now it should work properly. So now if I come back here, now I can see the, I think if you are not, okay, I cannot able to set the value to it, I think, because test contained no value here, right? That's the problem. Yeah, okay, this is not going to return undefined because it's going to set test is not defined only. Okay, if I want to set some value here is equal to test1, is equal to test1, I can get the text1 value here. Okay, basically what it's going to happen, it's going to check the window object. If it is there a text variable, that is going to return the actual value of the text property. Okay, this is not a variable. This is a property of that window object because we are setting up, this is an object. We are setting some value to the window object is equal to test1. This is called as property. Okay, so this is this. So now this points to where? The window object, right? So remember that now this points to the window object. That's what I need from you. Okay, remember that. So I'll just take this, I'll just console log this. So command this out. Afterwards you go and check it out. Okay, so now here I'm going to create a person constructor here. Okay, so this is what we're going to learn today. So now the person constructor, what is constructor in object in JavaScript? So if I come back here, I'll just put JavaScript constructor functions. Okay, so what is JavaScript constructor? So if I come to here, I'll just explain you some basic thing. We are not going to take this example and all. The same example, the person only I'm going to use, but not these kinds of ideas. Okay, so JavaScript object constructor. So note, it is considered a good practice to name the constructor function with an uppercase. It is recommended. Okay, so if you're creating a function as a function constructor, you should want to create the name using uppercase letter of the first letter. Okay, so about this, in a function constructor, this does not have a value. It is as a substitute for the new object. The value of this will become the new object when a new object is created. This is very hard to understand for you. Now I will explain you that in a practical way. Okay, so we don't need this kind of things. So just see the syntax. Okay, the same concept we're going to do. Just see the syntax. Okay, what is this? Okay, this is the important thing. Okay, what is this? In JavaScript, this keywords refers to an object. So what the window is an object in our case, right? The window is object in our case. So which object depends on how this is being invoked, used, or called. Now, what they are actually saying, we call this keyword here in the global scope, so that it's returned the actual of global object, right? That is the window. Okay, but if I call inside some object, that is going to look for the object only. Okay, I will give you that example. So this only. Okay, I don't want any more from here. So here what I'm going to do, I'll just create some method here. Okay, the function method. So log this. I'll just keep log this. This function is going to return console.log this. Okay, inside the object. Remember that when I call the function, when I call this keyword in the global scope, okay, in the global scope, whatever you are creating, it's going to sit inside the window object only. So this, I'll just console log that this here. This is coming from from global. Okay, this is coming from global. Now this one should come now. I'm just going to console log the person dot log this. Okay, what the log this actually doing? It's returning that it's just returning the console dot log this inside the object. Okay, we'll check what's going to happen. And also what I do, I'll just put some command here, coming from person obj. Okay, this keyword. Now here also the same thing is working. So I'll just create a function here called test. Okay, test. I'll just create a test. This test inside the function, I'm just going to console.log. This is here. I'll just close. Coming from inside function. So everything is done now. Okay, we're going to check what are the things it's going to return. Okay, basically the this keyword is now sitting inside in a different types, right? So one is sitting in a global. Here this one is a global. This one is sitting inside the object. This one is sitting inside the function. Okay, now I call the test here. This is going to invoke this function. I'm going to console log here. Okay, I'll just pass that this also here. Okay, now I'll save this file. I'll get back to my console here. Now one thing you want to notice here. So I want to console. I don't want to. I don't want to console log this one. I'll just take this and I'll put here. Okay, I can. I'll just put here. Here I'll just put person.console. It's going to fire off this function. This function is returning console.log. Okay. So now if I come back here, now you see one thing. Coming from global, this keyword is returning the window object. Okay. Now that this keyword inside the person object, it returns the actual object. You see, this keyword sitting inside the person object that return, that's actually pointing to the person object as the parent, right? Now in this function, now take a look at this function. Coming from inside function, inside we have some console.log this. It is also pointing to the window object only. Okay, so these are the difference. Remember here you should want to remember something. What is the only one thing? If that this keyword is sitting inside some object, that is going to only point the actual object. If it is in if the this keyword is sit in the global object, it is going to look for the window object. If the this keyword is sitting inside the function also, this is going to look for the global object. Okay, only one thing, if the this keyword is located inside that actual object, it's going to look for the object where you put. Okay, so now you understand this, right?
Got confused with the last one.
This one.
Yeah, function.
This is a function, right? This is a function. Okay, so this function returns console.log coming from inside function. When you now I'll just take this out. Okay, now I'll just take this out. Now I cannot see I couldn't able to see that function console here because we only created the function. We have not called the function yet, right? We should want to call the function using test and parenthesis.
Okay.
If you get into the functions, you see we already cover all these things. Every time we call the function using greet and parenthesis. We created the function here, the greet function. This if you want to call this function, you should want to call the greet name and the actual parenthesis and want to pass the actual variable here, right? The variable value here. Okay, so the same thing is now you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll just calling this function name. That's all. I'm just invoking the function. It's going to return the actual window object. Okay, the inside the function, this is going to return the window object only. Okay, so that's all. So I'll just command this out. I don't need this. I'll just command this. Okay, I'll just put that here. Okay, here I'll put this keyword. So now I'm going to create a function here. Okay, I told you that. Remember, again, you should want to remember one of the important thing: function or objects in JavaScript. Okay. So I'm going to create a function constructor. In W3 school, they said if you're creating a function constructor, the function name first letter should be a capital case. Okay. I'm just going to create a function. This function name called person. Okay. The person takes a value of name and the object. Remember this. Okay. The function takes the two parameter. One is name. Sorry, we can do the OB date of birth. Okay. We'll do this date of birth. So this function takes two parameter. One is name and another one is an date of birth. Okay. Here I can set name is equal to, okay, the name I'm calling here, the name is equal to Javed. If I do that, I'll just console log the name inside the function. What I'm going to get here when I call the person function.
Javed.
So if I come back here, I'll get the Javed, right? So everything is done. Okay, super. Now I'm just going to create a one new method. Okay, the method is going to be an for example, before that I'll just I'm not going to show you this. Okay, I'll just keep it as age age. Okay, so here I'll call an age is equal to 25. So inside the function, you see inside the function we have a name and age. That name contain Javed, age contain 25. So I'm just going to console log inside that function name and the age. Okay, so if I do this, I'm going to get Javed 25. Okay, everything is perfect here. Now, instead of doing that, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use a this dot name. Okay, here this dot name. Now remember one thing. So now this is going to point to where?
Window.
The window, right? Now, if I console, if I now I'll call the person here. Okay, now I'll call the person here. Now we cannot able to see anything here because we are not consoling inside this function. Okay, but if I console log the name here, I'm going to get this is setting where this is sitting actually.
Within the function.
Yeah, within the
Globally.
function. Now this is actually
Yeah,
located in
window.
the window object, right?
Window object.
So if I save this, I can get the Javed. You see, right?
Yes.
Because this function is not an object now. This is a function. Okay. So I set this dot name is equal to Javed to the window object only, not to the actual object of this function. We are going to create this now. Okay. With soon we're going to create this now. Okay. So now one question we should now come up to your mind. What the question is, how can I turn this function to an object? That is the second question. Okay. This is the function constructor. I want to make the function constructor to the object. Then only this keyword is going to point to the person. Okay, that is the actual logic. Now what I'm actually going to do now, so here I'm just going to take this out, the person. Okay, I'm going to create a const Javed is equal to the variable I'm creating is equal to new. Okay, new person. What the new person is going to do, that's the second question. Okay, before that we'll check one thing. Here I'm creating a function. This function is a test. This function does not contain anything. Okay, remember this function does not contain anything. I'll just keep some console dot log test. Okay, test as a string, so else it should return here. Okay, now I'll create a new variable here, test1 is equal to new. I'm making the function as an object now. Okay, if I console dot log the test1 here, it's going to return what it's, we'll check what it's going to return. It's going to return an object. You see, it's basically returning as an object. I created the function here, the test function. Now I call the const test1 as a variable. I put new keyword before this test function. Now this testers become what? Object. So if I console log this inside here, where this going to point now? Now this function is an object, right? So you know this
Inside the
function.
object.
Yeah, inside the object. Okay. If I do that, I can get the test only here, right? It's going to return the actual object because we turn up that function constructor to an object. Okay. So
Yes.
that this keyword is going to point where? The actual function of the actual function, because now this function is an object. Okay. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can able to push some property to the test.name is equal to Javed. If I call test1 dot age equal to 25. Okay. If I'll just take this, I'll just okay, I will keep it like this way. Here we'll do we now this is now empty object. Okay, because inside we have no properties or method, anything. We are not having anything, but outside of the scope we are creating this. Outside of this function scope we are creating the test1 dot name is equal to Javed and test1 dot age equal to 25. When I save this, I'll just console log the test also here. I can see inside the all properties what I push inside to that function. You see, now we have the test of Javed and age is equal to 25. Now you see, I'll just create this function constructor to an object using the new keyword in front of the function name. Okay. And then what I do, and then I call the test1 dot name. I'm just setting some property to that is equal to Javed. Test1 dot age is equal to 25. When I console log the test1, it's going to return what? The actual object of this test1. Okay. If you want to create two more things here, for example, I'll just give test2. Okay. This is going to create a new object. You see, now this one is having a test because we set only the property to the test1, not to the test2. Okay, so that now this is an empty object. So we can create lot of object using this kinds of syntax. Okay, basically now I hope you will understand now. For example, you have some e-commerce web page. Okay, that e-commerce web page, who want to register in your application? The customer, right?
Customers.
So what are the things when the function is actually there is an empty object. Okay, we going to create the copy of that object. Even 1,000 people, if they register, you are just creating a new object for every person. Okay, every object is going to contain the new person details. So this is how the object is basically works. Okay, we're just going to get into this. So now we understand this concept.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will just take this out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take is a function person. Okay, now this function is going to point the window only because we are just command this out. Okay, but once I make this, okay, remember this. Now this keyword is going to point to the person, right? Now the person
Yes.
is what? Object or function when I use the new keyword?
Object.
Object. So this is going to point to the person. I'm setting here person dot name is equal to Javed. Okay, understood?
Yes.
So this is going to point to the person only. Instead of calling this person dot name equal to Javed, I can call the this dot name. Okay, this is the preferable way to do this. Okay, this is going to point to the person. This dot name is equal to Javed. This dot name equal to 25. Okay, but I'm not going to pass like a hard coded data. I'm just going to pass a name here and the age here. Now I can able to pass the argument here, right? The name of the Javed, then the name of the age is 25. So if I console log the Javed, what I'm going to get? The object with the property, the two property of
Javed and age.
the name and the age. Okay, if I come back here, I can see the person, the name is Javed and the age is 25. So this is coming from person. Okay, if I want to create a new one, I'll just go here. I'll just make this as a Jagan. Okay, I can pass a Jagan now. Every time the new person is going to make a empty object for us and also put some value to that empty object, what we are passing into that argument. Okay, if I save this, I can get, I want to console log the Jagan here. I console log the Jagan. So it's going to return the person, the Javed is returning Javed, and the name is returning the Jagan object. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make some methods here. Okay. So far, we are just creating some properties. Okay. Basically, this is very important concept. That's what I'm making a long. I'm just making some 1 hour for this only. Okay. We have to learn a lot of things afterwards about the object, but this is the base of the object. Okay. When you making some new keyword in front of some function constructor, it's going to become as an object. Remember that only. Okay. This is going to point to the person object. So you basically what you doing here, you're just doing the kind of things like this way. Okay, if there is an object here, this function is an object. Now you're just making person dot name is equal to like that way. Okay, person dot name is equal to like that way. You are setting the property inside to that object. Okay, now why? Because this is going to point to the person, because we change that function constructor to an object using the new keyword. Okay, that's all. Now we get into the W3 school explanation. Okay, what is this? In JavaScript, the this keyword refers to an object. Okay, this keyword is referred to an object, but we should want to notice where the this keyword is located. Okay, in object method, this keyword refers to the object alone. This refers to the global object. You know where the this keyword is going to point to the global object, right? If you call that in directly into the global place, the global scope, it's going to look for the window object only. That is called a global object. Okay, some people say window object, some people say global object. There is no difference in that. Okay, in a function that this refers to the global object, right? I showed you this example also. I will create the test function. Inside we put this gonna look for the global object. Okay, in a function, in a strict, we don't need this. Okay, we'll get into later in ES6. So in an event, this refers to an element that received an element. Okay, so for example, I will take this later. Okay, we'll get into the later. So we don't need this. So can refer this to an any object. Okay, if it is inside the object, it's going to look for the direct object. Okay, this keyword is not in variable, it's a keyword. Okay, because why? Because you cannot able to set const like this way, like const this is equal to 5. You cannot able to use this keyword because this keyword is already taken. Okay, you cannot able to do this because this is one of the keyword in the JavaScript. You cannot able to do like this equal to 5. You can do that equal to 5 because that is not taken. Okay, the JavaScript engine, but this is taken. Okay, that this is not a variable, this is a keyword. Remember that. So some people do like this way, const this, let this, like the way it shows some error. Okay, so we'll check the error, what the actual error is. Let equal to this. I'll just give that this here. So console.log this here, what it's going to return, it's not going to return anything. If you see here, if I come back here, you see unexpected token this, because this keyword we cannot able to set some variable or the reference variable, the const are let to in before this keyword, because this is a keyword. Okay, remember that. Don't use this keyword to make some variable. Okay, so then we are getting back to here. So for example, adding a property. Okay, so for example, you see adding a property to an object, what they are actually doing, adding a new property to an existing object is easy. Okay, the thing we already saw, right? So if I come back here, we created the person object. This is an existing object. We can also use to put person dot age or name like this way. We can keep it like an empty object. Then you can call the person dot age name. It's going to push inside to this empty object. Okay, that is one way. They're basically saying that what they are saying, object is easy. Okay, the property will be added to father, not to my mother, not only to any other object. Basically, if you call the parent this if you are referring to this my father object, it's going to add only for the uh, father object only, because you are calling that you have set some property to my father object only, right? So adding a method to an object, what we'll get into the method. Okay, adding a new method to an existing object is also very easy, because we're going to add some method. For example, if we come back to the JavaScript fundamentals, in the object, where is the object? We add some method here to get full name. What I told you, if the function is sitting inside an object, that is not a function, that's called as a method. So that's what in W3 school they said, The method will be added to my father, not to my mother, not to any other person object. Okay, remember that. Inside, if you see any function inside object, it's called method, not an object. Okay. So, okay, adding a property to a constructor. This is one of the main concept what we are learning now. You cannot add a new property to an object constructor the same way you add a new property to an existing object. Okay. What they basically saying, we can able to add some property method directly to this object, calling like person dot height is equal to 5.5, like that, right? So it's going to sit inside to this person object, right? But we cannot able to add inside like this way, like calling this person dot without the person dot age is 5.5, like this way, without calling this new keyword. Okay, remember that's what they actually saying. When I come back here, so now to add a new property to a constructor, you must add it to the constructor function. What is that constructor function? That's what we're going to take a look here only. We already know all these things. So that's what I came here to explain how they actually documented these things. Okay. So the function takes a person, takes a first, last, age, eye color. So you see this dot first name first, this dot last name last, this dot age is equal to the age, and this dot eye color is eye color. This dot nationality is a hard coded data is English. Okay. The way object property can have a default value. So this is the default value. Okay. They actually manually set some value to that property. Adding a constructor, your constructor function can also define methods. You see, this name function return this dot first name, it's going to return a full name. Okay, basically it's returning a full name. Okay, you cannot add a new method to an object constructor the same way you add a new method to an existing object. What they are actually saying, you cannot able to add a you can able to add here. Okay, because the person is an object now, existing object, person dot get full name. You can give you can make it as a function. Okay, this function could be this dot name, person dot name, person dot last name. You can add like that way. Okay, but this would not be possible in the function constructor. Okay, so the change name function assign the value. Okay, built-in, we'll get into the built-in constructor or everything. Okay, so now we've opened this one, what they actually, how they constructing the function. Okay, so you see the function person takes the first, last, age, I, the property they are setting. Why they are setting? Because they're using new keyword in front of the person, create a person object. You see, they mention clearly here, this function is going to be an object now. Okay, so that this keyword is going to point to this person object, whatever the type, whatever the property you're setting inside to the function, it's now changed to the object properties and methods. So that when you pass the John Doe 50 blue, it's going to, you're just setting some property inside to that empty object. Okay, now what they are doing, document get element by the demo, right? So this demo, the paragraph they are having here. So dot inner HTML, what they are doing, my father is plus my father name. My father is John Doe. That's what it's returning, the John Doe. Okay, because in the name, in the function method, they basically concatenation the two variable, this dot first name and space and this dot last name. So that's why it's returning my father is an John Doe. Okay, but we are not going to use this methods in our example. We're going to get into that a different example. Okay, kind of birthday. So now we understand this, how the function constructor is working.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everyone, because this is very important concept. If you are not understand, I'm ready to explain one more time. So you should want to understand this to take next session. Please let me know that you will understand or not. Hello. Plus Santosh, you understand?
Yes,
Okay, Mohammed, you will understand.
yes, sir.
Okay, super. Now we'll get into the methods. Okay, now we set up some property here. So the property is returning. Okay, now I'll just take this age. Okay, okay, we'll keep the age here, no problem. So I'll just put date of birth here, DOB. Okay, I'm going to give a DOB here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create some, I don't need the age because we are calculating the age, no. So we don't need, I'll just make a command here. So if you want, you will take later on you do that. I'm just going to add some new method to this function constructor. Okay, the method, how we can add the method. So this dot calculate age is equal to function. This is not a function, this is a method. Why we are calling this as a method?
Because it is inside the object.
Yeah, that's all. Okay, so now I'm just going to create a variable called difference is equal to date dot now. It's going to return the actual date of now. For example, if I come back here, I can able to access Javed dot name here. Okay, because the Javed object now contain the name of the Javed. If I come back here, now I can see the Javed here, right? So I'll take this person. I don't need this one. So the Javed is an object. So it's going to look for the Javed object. This is Javed. So this returning, where is the Jagan here? We'll take this out. So the Javed name return Javed. Okay, perfect. So if I call the age, what is the age is going to return? Now we'll check undefined. Why? Because we command this out. Okay, we are not having age here. But if I call the calculate age here like this, okay, Javed dot calculate age, what it's going to return? It's going to return the actual function body. You see, it's returning the function code, not also the body. It's returning the whole function code. I want to do what? How do I want to invoke this method? How you call the function outside when you create the function? How do you call the function? Using the function name, and what you do the next step?
New dot.
No, you call this parenthesis, right?
Yeah, parenthesis.
So if I save this, I can see date is not defined. Okay, the problem is this. I'll just keep a small d. This you see now, the d is a constructor. Okay, that's what they're using a capital letter. The same way they are actually doing. For example, I told you that no, in the date I will show you that how this new keyword is work, right? That these things are we are actually doing now. For example, how they structure the date, they create some function constructor. The function constructor takes the date. This date has some get month. Okay. So for example, get day is equal to some function. We are not going to use the logic. I'm just saying the structure of that. Okay. Now this return console.log. It's returning. Yeah, here it is actually equal. This dot get age. Okay. This dot get age console.log just date. I'll just keep like date. Okay. The date string. So when I call this as a new for const date is equal to new date. Okay. I'll keep a 2e here. Okay. Because e is a actual date. So when I do this, what I'm going to get in the date? So console.log date here. What I'm going to get? Date is not defined. Why? Okay, date. I'll just give the data here. DAT. Okay, if I do that, I'm going to get the actual date empty. Inside, I have some property. Okay. The same way, all these methods, I have the method here, right? This dot get day is equal to function. These methods are actually the same way how they structure. You see, today dot get day. How do you create the today? Using new date, right? Inside they have the logic, but we are not having any logic here. Okay, just to create the function constructor only, just consoling the date. Okay, but they have some inbuilt logic inside when you call the get month. It's going to return the actual month of that. Now you understand why you're using the new and you calling dot month and day. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, now I'll come back here. I'll just take this out. I just for the example I show you that. So calculate age takes the difference. Okay. So if I want to call this calculate age, what I want to do, Javed dot get calculate age. What it's going to return? Day is not defined. Where is that? Where is that? It's not here, right? Yeah, this one. So I'll take this one. So Javed dot calculate age, it's going to return undefined because we are not setting up anything here. We should want to get some something here because what I'm saying, console.log diff here. If I give diff here, it's going to return what? The number. Okay, I told you that if you used to put get dot now, remember that the get dot now is going to return since the 1971, the 1970 of the millisecond. Okay, you remember that, right? You remember or not? That's what I am saying.
I
Just
wasn't there in that session.
just practice every day, because then only you can able to remember these things. Or okay, you can able to recall when I teach that again. The concept is going to look same again and again. Okay, date, where is the date? Here the date get method, the date not now. Okay, the mention what they're actually saying in the not just, I'm just going to show you that get dot get time. Well, I'll check the time. Okay, you see, get the time millisecond since January 1 1997, right? It's returning the actual since from milliseconds of January 1 1997. Okay, remember that. So the get dot date time, date dot get time is also going to return the same thing. Now this logic is going to be a weird thing, but even though I don't know how this is actually working, but I know I remember this. Okay, that's what I'm just showing here. So now what I'm going to do here, I'll just create some variable. This dot birthday equal to new date. In the date, I'm going to pass this DOB. Okay, remember that inside the date we just passing this DOB. You can pass like this way. In the date we can pass like 09 like this, right? 09/05/1997 like that. You can pass like this way. Okay, in the object will, in the date object we pass like this way to get the actual date. We set some date here, right? So I'm just going to pass the DOB here. I'm just going to make I'm going to pass it in a parameter. Okay, so this dot birthday take a new object, new date, and I'm passing the DOB here. This dot calculate method takes the difference, and it's going to minus this dot birthday dot get time. Going to minus, since what the number I'm just passing here, it's going to minus the difference here. Okay, so it's returned now millisecond, and it's this get dot time, it's going to return when I'll born. Okay, so that's the difference. So here const age date is equal to new date. I want to store that in a new date. That date is here different. Okay, I just passing the different here. So now if I save this, we'll check what's actually the difference is returning. Okay, it's just minus something, right? So it's returning some other data here. See, this is a millisecond. We don't worry about this. Actually, even though I don't know how this basically works. Okay, like this is a formula of to get a date. This is kind of very weird. So this method is going to return math. I'm going to use a math.absolute here. It's, if it has any kind of decimal, I don't want the decimal. Okay, I'm just going to use a absolute. So age date dot get full, you should want to get full UTC full here. Okay, so remember this. I'm just going to show you how the method is working. Okay, I don't want to make you some simple example. That's what I'm creating. So this returning math dot absolute age, the age date get full UTC full here minus 170. I know this is very weird, even though I don't know how it is working. This is just a formula. So if I call this, okay, I just pass the DOB here instead of this. So I'll just pass first one is actual month, I think 05. Then want to pass it as a string 0. The DOB I'm passing here 05. Sorry, yeah, 05. The first one is month or what? I don't know what's that. We'll check that. Okay, we'll check using that year. The last one is year actually. So I used to put 1997. Okay. So if I save this, what I'm going to get in a calculated age, basically we pass the date of birth to the new date here as a parameter. So this one now here, remember that. Okay, so this is how we structure that now. So we pass that variable here. Now this calculate age takes the difference from date dot now and minus that date dot birthday get time. Okay, then const age is taking a new date and difference. I'm passing the difference here to the new date. I want, because that's what I need. I want to minus that, right? I'm just going to make I'm going to check the full year of that. I want to minus this. I'll show you that now. I'll show you that even though I'm not understanding. You see, the age I'm get 25. Okay, I know there is no logic in this syntax. I know that, but if I go here, JavaScript get birthday, I'll put that. Okay, so if I open this, this is another method of doing. We don't need that. So what they are doing, they're setting some new date and their birthday new date. They're passing the date string here. They basically today dot get full year minus birthday dot get full year and today dot get. This is kind of another logic, I think. The actual code is this one. You see, this is tick. Okay, the birthday, the age, date dot now minus birthday dot get date and the age date new date and they are passing the same code what I did here. Okay, I just copy and I know basically like last 4 years I'm doing the same code even though I don't know how this is actually working. So disclaimer, this is also has a precision issue, so that cannot be completed trusted either. It can be off by a few hours or some years. And during the daylight saving, there is a lot of issue. We are not going to use that, but to make to you just want to understand what is method. So that's what I create like this kind of thing. Then only you should understand what is method. Okay, so that's what I'll take this complicated example. Okay, so when I get 25, you don't want to remember all these things. If you go and type how to get a birthday in JavaScript, you will get this code. Okay, just go and copy and paste it in your application. That's all. Okay, so now only one thing, we have created the function constructor. So the function constructor, we should want to make that as an object. So we are using a new keyword in front of the person. It should return as an object. Okay, so the object, we set all the properties using this keyword. This is going to point to the person object. We are setting each and every new name, new like whenever you call this new keyword for Jagan, this one is Jagan, I can going to pass something here 96. Okay, the age should be 26. Want to return 26. If I do this now, what I'm going to get, this is 25, this is 26. Okay, even though if I console log Javed Jagan, if I do that, I'm going to get the actual object. The person object returns the name of Javed birthday. You see, now this returning Friday, May 9, 1997. Okay, basically this one is the first one is actually this is actually my birthday, May 9th. Okay, 1997. I got 25. The age, so the person, the day, and everything is working properly. So this is cool actually. Okay, we go and practice this out. I know this is very complicated and this is just a starting. We're going to learn a lot of exciting things upcoming days. So just go and practice this, so that I'm just daily, that's what I'm just daily saying. Please make sure to practice all the things we are learning. Okay, because these kinds of content you are not going to get anywhere in the YouTube. Seriously, I know that they are not teaching like this way of concept and all. Okay, I didn't find anything like this, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, if you find, you just take that also, no problem. But just make sure to go and practice each and every day what we are learning. That's what I need. Okay, so and also I just created some DOM game for you, the game number guesser. Okay, I'm not going to teach you this. For you should want to understand this with watching the code. Okay, if I give 5, this 5 is not correct. Okay, you should want to guess the number in between 1 to 10. Now the 5 is not correct. You have only 2 guesses left. Okay, only 3 guesses, one guess now used now, so it's returned 2 guesses left. If I put 5 here again, this is also wrong, so the 1 guess left. If I put 7 or something, game over, you lost. The number was 10. So play again. I can give 2 here, the 2 is also wrong. If I give 4, if I give 6, game over. Think why it's not like doing that. Yeah, now the 2 is correct. The random number and the 2 is now like equal to that, so that you got win. Okay, you predict the number properly, so that you now win. Okay, so just go and take a look of this code. Okay, then because you should want to understand you should want to understand how to read the code also, right? So this is very simple code. You will understand. Okay, if you are not understand, I will explain you all these things, how I created this project. Just go and take a look. Okay, and also I'll send that code now. So if you see, I have some paragraph and also the input. Okay, then submit input and the paragraph to show the message. The app.js, I'm not going to explain. This is very simple code, only 100 lines of code. Okay, just go and take a look what I did here. If you understand this, you probably have good understanding about some functions and some event handling and some if statement things, all these things. Okay, just go and take a look this one. So try to learn all these things. Okay, so once you're done, you probably good, you're almost good in programming. So I'll move to this here. So now this, I'll just take this inside to this. Okay, I'll add this as just take this one. Don't worry. Okay, I'm here that we're going to learn a lot of things. Okay, so be ready to learn a lot of things. So that's what I need from you. So remove from workspace. So inside, I'll put this inside here. So inside the DOM, you have the number guesser. Okay, you can able to see the function, the code. Just go and take a look of that function. Okay, I'll just put the code in GitHub. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. So whenever you want, so no problem about that. I'll just push the code in GitHub. 1 minute, we go and get from there. So get in it. I'm not going to make this easy way of teaching. Okay, I can able to teach a simple way of things, but that is not a proper way. So that's what I'll make something like these kinds of things. Okay, but before you code, you should want to understand how the language is actually created. Okay, so that's what I'm taking all these things up to object, right? Up to object and what that a number guesser. The game, I'll give the game. Oh, I made a spelling mistake. Okay, it's okay. Why this is git commit m. Okay, I'll miss this. Okay, I'll just put like this way. So now git. I'll put push. So go and practice this today. Okay, please practice this today again and again. I'm saying because you should want to practice that out to understand everything. Okay, just make sure to practice. Okay, brother.
Okay, good.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Shall we close?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Yeah. Bye.